Listening to understand. Hello, I'm John Hind, mediator, coach and trainer. So you want to, no, you need to feel understood. So why is it that your work colleagues always seem to jump down your throat when you suggest something at work? Why is it that your former partner always seems to misunderstand what you're trying to say? Why do your children, rather frustratingly, always seem to ignore you? What is going on? Well, we're talking here about one of the most powerful building blocks and core skills of good communication. Something that so many people in conflict need to get much better at. Something that research tells us that most people can only effectively do for about 17 seconds at a time. The thing that opens up communication and conversations. The thing that can help people quickly resolve conflict. I'm talking, of course, about the ability to listen. Well, not just listen, but listen to understand at a deep level and ensure that the person being listened to feels understood at a deep level. The irony is that if you really want to feel listened to and understood, the person you're in conversation with or in conflict with will often first need to feel listened to and understood. Deep, empathic listening can be a very rewarding skill to develop. Now here's the thing, the more the other person feels that you understand them, the more likely they are to make an effort to understand you when they're asked to. So, if your aim is to be listened to, you know what you've got to have to do. When I talk about understanding the other person at a deep level, I mean understanding their standpoint, what they feel so strongly about and why, uncovering their core concerns, the things that really bother them, the things really important to them. If you make the effort to do so, you may be amazed at how persuasive you can be. If you want to be understood, seek first to understand. Now, don't misunderstand me. I'm not saying that this will be easy by any means, especially if you're stuck in a heated argument or a long-standing dispute with them where you're feeling judged and constantly challenged. But someone has to start. Someone has to lead. One of you needs to take the initiative. One of you needs to start that seesaw of reciprocity, as I call it. If you really want to break through that existing cycle of conflict, you'll need to find it in yourself to discover what's causing the other person to react and behave in the way they are. Now, this may involve having to keep your own self-justification and blame narratives in check when every fibre of your body is crying out for you to react defensively. Only then can you ask them to offer you the same courtesy. After all, you surely earned it, haven't you? Well, indeed, if you're able to do this, you mobilise a very powerful human instinct, the instinct of reciprocity. You create an obligation to be heard, an obligation that either needs to be met or actively resisted by the other person. Now, whether met or not by the other person, by listening to them, exercising self-restraint and taking the time to ensure that they feel understood, you create a powerful reciprocal obligation in them to listen to you with the same effort and intensity. You've earned this right. Job done. Well, not quite. Let's look in a little more detail at the five core partnership skills that partner the listening skill and makes it even more effective. Number one, the first core partnership skill involves the capacity and need for self-restraint, requiring you to find an effective strategy in yourself to help you suppress tendencies to react defensively to what you're hearing. Now, I would say that the harder you find this, the better prepared you're going to need to be. But more about preparation in another video. Secondly, the second core partnership skill involves the ability and need to demonstrate authentic curiosity in the drive to uncover the core unmet concerns driving the other person's behaviour. Number three, the third core partnership skill involves the ability and need to ask sensitive but probing questions to uncover that core unmet concern really bothering the other person. Number four, the fourth core partnership skill, and a very powerful one at that, is the ability and need to authentically acknowledge what you're hearing, what you're seeing, what you're sensing. This involves the skill of reflecting back, the key emotions being expressed around the core concerns being uncovered, so that the other person realises that you get where they're coming from. Now, to be clear, I'm not suggesting that you have to feel the emotions they're experiencing, but you do have to understand where they're coming from and let them know that you understand this. Number five, the fifth and no less important core partnership skill is the ability and need to move the difficult conversation on to focus you and the other person on resolving the conflict with powerful presupposition problem-solving questions, such as, what can I do to help? Which presupposes that you can do something to help, and as such, then invites the other person to tell you. Now, if you're able to effectively practice these 5 core skills, beginning with the core skill of listening with a calm, centered, curious, empathic, open, non-judgmental mindset and approach, you'll be amazed at the breakthroughs you can achieve. But it begins with your own ability to listen. So listen well and see where it gets you. Good luck.